All right, so welcome to the second section of the Yamaha DGX tutorial. So in this second section, we'll be going deeper and we'll go over some features we didn't look at in the first section. Now, the first thing we want to cover is the demo feature, and this is the demo button over here. So once you press the demo, you're going to hear whatever demo sound they've kept in. So I'll just press it. I won't play to the end. All right, so if you play the demo to the end, you hear some of the basic track they kept in and the some of the features they displayed during the demo section. So we won't dwell too much on that. So the next thing is the auto power and off. So this keyboard is set in a way that if you leave the keyboard for a certain period of time, depending on what setting you have there, it's going to turn off itself. It's a nice feature, especially when it comes to power consumption, so that when you're not using the keyboard just don't just stay on. It just powers off itself. So if you leave your keyboard for a while and it powers off, it doesn't mean that the keyboard is faulty or anything. It's just the auto power feature. You just want to turn off or on. All right, so you go to your functions like I went there. So you start looking for it. Okay, currently the auto power off is about 30 minutes. So if this keyboard stay on for 30 minutes, it's going to turn off itself. So that's the auto power feature, and that's what it does basically. So we're going to leave there, and the next thing is the portable ground. And this portable ground is a very useful feature if you just want to quickly reset the keyboard and to a default sound and take out your settings. So sometimes it can be handy. So for now, let's say I'm currently on this sound. All right, so let me also transpose. Also, now let's say I transpose -3. So now let me hit the portable ground. Now when I hit the portable ground, it just takes it straight to the natural ground. You can see it doesn't touch the transpose. The transpose is still there. So to reset that, you just press the two plus and minus, and that's that about that. So the next part is the pitch bend. Unfortunately, my camera it's not actually capturing it up to this point, but I'll try to get a big shot to show you that. So the pitch bend sounds like this. So the next thing is the aux input on this keyboard. Now this keyboard comes with the aux input. Currently the main shot I took, it's actually not showing the aux input, but I'm going to put a picture up so you could see the aux input. And all you have to do is to just get a cable just like this, just like this, and you want to plug it into the aux input. Now, once you plug it into the aux input, it allows you to play song on your device, and you're probably going to hear it on your aux input. So I'm just going to try to play a random song so you can see how that works. All right, so this is your aux in level, and you can find that in the function. Just scroll through with the category till you get to the aux input. Level here, you can turn up the level up. So let me just turn it gradually. That's just how the aux input actually perform. All right, so the next part is the bank registration, and this bank registration is something I've been using during the course of this video to save some of the setup I might want to use to explain something or do something. All right, so the bank, it's very easy to save your sound bank, and you can see I have some sound bank already saved here easily. So what you want to do is to save any sound bank. For example, let's say this sound, you hold the bank and you hold the number. So it's going to show you this pop-up, do not turn off the keyboard while it's saving and all of that. Now, in the first part, I think I covered the bank, but we're going further. This keyboard has the ability to save, has the ability to save as many bank as possible. As you can see, we have about 8 bank. 8 times 4 is about 32, which means you can save it up to 32 sounds configuration on this keyboard. And it can be handy if you need to switch between, probably you have a performance that you need to switch between sounds swiftly. You don't want to start scrolling. So you could save your sound just like that and just switch easily. So that's one of the good things and advantage of the bank. So to save on another bank is very simple. All you have to do is to hold the bank and scroll to bank 2. That way you can save. Let me just save a random thing, or let me just go like this. Okay. So currently I'm on bank 2, as you can see. So I'll save bank 2 1. So you will see that if I go back to bank 1 by holding this and go back to bank 1, if I press 1, it's different. If I hold it and go to bank 2 and I press 1, it's going to give a different to what I saved. So that's just how to use that easily, and it's a very handy feature you want to try out and mess around with. All right, so the next thing I want to cover is the music database, because I'm trying to be fast as possible. All right, so the music database can be handy if you don't actually have idea of a sound to sound combination to use for different type of genre of music or beat. So it's going to just, you preview some of the setup there. You preview some of the sound setup here, and it's going to pick some voices that matches with it, and in which you can try out to see if it works for whatever you want to use it for. So let me turn down this a little bit low. So let's see. So it has previewed some of the sounds you probably, and I'm hearing something like trumpet and, oh sorry, sweet flute. So for US match, it's telling you that for that kind of beat, you want to use a sound like this. All right, so one thing you should take good note of is that when you on the music database, sometimes it's automatically switch on the accompaniment for you. You can deactivate that if you like during the performance. So it could sound like this. So that's just that about the music database. So the next part is a metronome, and the metronome, we covered it in the other section, but what I just want to cover here is the time signature. So you could alter this metronome to sound differently by altering the time signature. So currently the numerator is telling you the first letter, the first number. You can adjust it to 3. Let us say put it in 6 8. Want to put it, and if you want to adjust the denominator, you move to the next one with the category and change it to 8. So just like that. So to access that time signature, again, you can just simply hold it like this to access it. Actually, you could also access it as a function, but this is just a faster way to just access it. Sorry. So if you want it now to sound different. So that's just that about the metronome. And take note, to off the metronome, you just have to tap on it again. Currently, you'll notice on the metronome, there's a bell sound that is like giving you like a count. Listen. So you could actually deactivate that bell sound to make it just sound ka, 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 ka. And to do that, just go to the function and, see the bell sound there. You can turn it off. So right now, you not hear the bell again. So the bell is like an accent. So for me, I actually just leave that the way it is. All right, so the next part is the smart chord. So the smart chord is very useful if you don't know how to hold chords on your left hand. All you have to do is to hold one note, and it's going to do the magic for you based on the setting you have there. So to access the setting, just hold the smart chord and it's going to show you. Now currently it's showing you C major, so you want to play on the key of C and hold notes within the C major scale. And the smart chord, one thing is that it activates the accompaniment. It works along with the accompaniment. So when you want to use it, so you have various chords you might want to try out, but for now let's keep it major, so you can mess around the other chords you like, so that when you hold one note, it's going to give you different type of chord sound. Now the way it's going to sound is going to be determined by the type of chord you place here. Currently we have it on pop. You can see the chord here is C major ninth. So you can see the chord sounds jazzy, right? So if the type, most times you can leave it on standard mi fa sol la ti. So the normal chord, the pop, so dance. So let us just leave it on dance and just start some. All right, so that's just the idea of the smart chord. So it can be very, very handy. Probably you don't have no much chords, so the smart chord can help you out with that. I know some of you don't really know the feature of that smart chord. So the next thing I want to talk about is the harmony type. Now, the harmony type, currently in the first section, we cover the harmony and what it does. We're going to still use this sound with the sax voice. We talked about the harmony. It's just like adding a duet underneath the main voice you're playing. Now, the harmony is not going to work just on its own, except you have a beat going and you have the accompaniment on. The next thing is a style recommender, and the style recommender it allows you make choices of styles that can fit what you have in the mind instead of having to go through everything. It's not 100% correct, but can be helpful. So you hold the style recommender just like that. So all you have to do to use the style recommender is very simple. So one thing you need to take note of is, unfortunately, the upper side of the keyboard is a piano, but on the 88 keys, the first key on the 88 keys, very low, the first C, it's where the drum is. So you could play the drums around and, get something. Okay, so just look at the screen. So I will just try to play a rhythm and wait for it to try to match what I played. So that's what it gave me. So if you don't like what it actually gives to you, you can just start again. All right, so this one was a little bit close. And one thing it does is that it gives you similar categories that you could also check around if you don't like the first one it actually gives to you. So which is one good thing about the style recommender. So if you want to use it, you might want to try it out. So I think that's that about the style recommender. So once you're done with whatever style recommender you've picked, it's important you click on exist so that you can use your normal sound. So whatever it picks, you can now play around with it. All right, so that's that about the style recommender. So the next part is turning off tracks in the song mode. So currently you can see on this track we have right, left, left, 2, 3, 4, 5, and A. Now a lot of people don't really know that. What this means when you're in the song mode is that now all these songs are recorded into these tiles in each separate form. Like it's a full song, but it's just like each part has been recorded into to group it just like that. So while the song is playing, if you deactivate some part, it might not sound as full. Now, the A that you can see on the screen is for the styles that they actually used during this recording. So that's just that about that. I don't want to waste too much time on that. So the next part is playing audio. Now, to play audios on this device, it's very simple. And if you have not watched the video where I talked about how to play audio files with your keyboard using Flash, and how to get up to 38 loops compatible with Flash. So far, as long as your keyboard is compatible with the wave files, is going to work. So let's just go to song by pressing this twice. As you can see currently, we have this loop here. We have various loops to choose from actually. Let's just pick any random one just like that, and let me change the voice to something like this. So you can see I already have that there, so I can just play it, and that is actually too loud, and you can reduce that by going to the audio level and drop down the volume to something considerate. So this is at 100, you can drop it to 56 or 53. All right, so I don't want to dwell on this too much because I already have a video in which I covered all the loops that have been loaded to Flash and how to use the song mode to load things properly and the way to export files correctly. How to use the score on the keyboard. So the score, the display the song score, whatever. Now this is for people who don't understand sheet music. If you don't understand sheet music, it might look like jargons to you. So let me just play this. So to access the score, you just click on score here. Now this is a popular tone in classical, but if you don't understand sheet, you won't understand what's going on. So the other part is the lyrics. Now for these lyrics, it's not everything in display. In fact, most of them won't show you the lyrics, but it works. So all right, so you can see this is telling you music by S. Jofflin. So there's no lyrics for this. So there's no lyrics for this, so it's not showing. But there's some that shows the lyrics, so you can just scroll around. But trust me, it's not something you might really want to. You can easily get lyrics online and sing with it. Anyway, that's just that about it. That's that feature there. Now the next part is the song lesson. Now this song lesson, it's one underrated feature, though I too don't really use it, but let me just explain how it works. For example, this entertainer, now we have up to three modes on the song lesson start. We have the waiting. Now this waiting, it's going to move to the next session when you play the right note. So if I click on waiting, now if I deactivate the left, it's going to be showing me things for the right hand. You can see it here. If I activate this back, it's going to be showing both right and left. So I think that's just what these two feature. You can see 1, 2 slash. So it's for the lesson mode. A lot of you see this is just for the lesson mode. Going back to the waiting feature, it's going to move to the next session when you get the notes right. It's only going to move to the next part when you play the right note correctly. So it's going to skip to the next section when you get it right. Now this tempo is just like the waiting section. I'm not going to bother playing it. It's going to show you the notes and it's only going to move to the next section for you. Or it's going to give a sound when you get it correctly, when you get it on the right tempo. While the last part is the -1, it's going to play audio song minus the part in which you play. All right, so that's just that about the song lesson. You might want to try it out to see what it does for you. So the next part is a great feature, and this great feature, I'm just going to cover it, but I don't really use it because I don't even practice the lessons there. So the great feature, it's going to grade you based on how you performed for the lessons. So let me just show you the function. So that's a great feature. The great feature is currently on, so you can turn it off. You understand? It's going to grade your performance to see whether you performed well or poorly. Now, the next part I want to quickly cover is the song multi-track, but I'm not going to go into details into this, but I'll just be fast with it. All right, so the song multi-track allows you to record, in the first part I talked about recording just one thing. For instance, just press the record and, play whatever that comes to you. So you have that. I ask you to save. So you have this here. Now, that was recorded on 1, as you can see on the screen. To record on 2, let me just say I want to play rubbish to that, or use one funny sound. Let me just go and look for something else so that there's difference. So I'm going to hit, you can see. So that's that. So currently you can hear that. If I press the two together to play it back, you should hear it. It's first going to ask you, because when you press start and stop, it's going to stop your recording and you can save whatever you recorded once. Then once it's saved, you cannot play it. Now you can just keep layering up to 4. Now the up to the 5, but this A feature, a lot of people don't know that it's just to record inbuilt styles there if you want to record it with whatever you're playing. So let me just quickly delete this. To delete what I recorded in the first part, it's simple. You click clear track, yes. Now to delete everything, I'll just click like this, the two like this, and it's going to delete everything just like that. All right, so that's that about clearing tracks. So now let me say I want to record with the style here we have currently. So the first thing I want to do is to come to the song, then I'm going to press this and this. So it's going to record whatever I'm recording with the style. So it's going to ask me to save whatever I want to save. Then let's see. All right, so let me just quickly show you a user song that I just created briefly. It's not the best you could actually hear, but I think we can manage it just to show you how this whole thing works. So I actually recorded different parts, just like I explained, record into 1, 2, 3, and all of that. But in this case, I didn't use any of the styles. So the rough stuff sounds like this. All right, so that's just the rough jargons and jabbery that I recorded. So there's something you will notice that while I was recording, some of the volumes are not really matching. So it's something you want to take note of, let's say you're recording something. Let me just move to something else. In one, maybe you've recorded one and you just want to go to the volume and make sure the volume, reduce the volume manually, you understand, before you record the second one and see that it blends, because you won't be able to adjust the volume once you're done. So that's one of the disadvantage of this kind of recording. So I'm just going to stop it, not save this, and let's move to the next thing. There's something we call the quantize in this call feature. So let us just check it out. It's actually for this call. Other thing I want to quickly cover is how to reset this keyboard to the default, and that's very simple. I'm not going to be doing this, but what you have to do is to something's covering the power button over here, so you just hold the power and hold the last key on the keyboard, and that is going to actually do that for you. The next part before I go into the functions on the keyboard specifically is the MIDI setup. The MIDI setup is quite simple. All you need is to get the right MIDI cable first of all. Then another thing you want to do is to download the Yamaha USB to MIDI driver from the web. You can just search it on Google and download it, or it helps. It's not going to work just like that. It's not just compliant. So once you download that on your system, there are some settings you want to take note of, and you go to your function and you go to keyboard out. You must make sure the keyboard out is on, and the local horn is it's just the inbuilt sound. If you want to use this keyboard as MIDI and you don't want the inbuilt sound to keep playing, you can just turn it off. And when you're using it as MIDI, you won't hear any sound. For instance, I'm pressing the keyboard, it's not actually making any sound here. So that's just what the local horn does. And it has PC mode that also does these things automatically for you. On the PC mode, I think PC2 is what you will activate if you want the keyboard out to function and you want to use it as MIDI. And when you're using PC2, it's automatically going to switch off the local horn on the keyboard. That means the inbuilt sound on the keyboard itself. So that's just some things you should take note of here. So that's what you should take note of here when you're using the keyboard as MIDI, and it works well. And in the next video, I'll just show you a brief overview of how I'm using it as MIDI and how it's functioning. Now, the last section of this video is the function, and I'll just try to start from somewhere and we're going to walk through everything. I think the first part, this section starts from style. All right, so the style volume, I already explained that is for the style. The song volume is for songs when you're playing songs on the keyboard. The audio volume, it's when you connect a USB, you're playing song from a USB flash or whatever, you see the audio volume there. And the aux in, I explained earlier, is when you connect this keyboard to an external device through the aux input. All right, so the transpose, I've explained that. The tuning, you don't want to mess with these. I just leave it the way it is, except you know what you want. Now, the pitch bend range is for the pitch bend. You could increase it. Let us put it at 12. So it's going as much as 12. So you can reset everything to the different. So this one is going to semitone. So that's it. So the more you increase it, the further it goes. So that's just what the pitch bend does. All right, so the next thing is a split point, in which I explained earlier on. I won't be dwelling on this in the first part. I won't be dwelling on it again. Now, the touch response is how you want this keyboard to respond. Now, I think I covered it in the basic, but let me just cover it again. So if you are used to weighted keys, you could play on the hard. I leave it on the hard, but if you are not actually very good with weighted, you can leave it on the soft, you understand, so that you don't strain your hands while trying to play. So that's just what the touch response is for. The chord fingering, I think I explained this for the accompaniment, you understand, so I'm not going to touch that again. The main volume is the main voice. I've explained that in the basic. The main octave, I've explained this. The main pan, this you don't want to mess around with it if you don't know what you're doing. It's just to pan the sounds. So you can see it's. So you want to leave this the way it is. You have the main reverb. If you don't reverb level, if you don't know, you can see more reverb. But actually, I advise if you don't know what you're doing, leave it. So the main chorus level, you can hear the chorus. So the main DSP, you can increase this. DSP just simply means digital signal processing. The more you increase it, the more of the effect you hear. So if you don't know what you're doing, like I do say, leave it. Dual volume, I've explained that. Dual octave, I've explained that. Dual pan is just like the main pan. Dual reverb is for the reverb for this dual sound, and this dual pan is for the reverb on the second voice you're layering. layering with this. Let us say, example, this is the one part. That's what you'll be messing around with. So the dual chorus is the same thing. DSP, the dual also have DSP that you could adjust. The split volume, split octave, pan, all these are the same principle. It's just that the split is for the split, the dual is for the dual second voice, your dual, and main is for the main. Now the reverb type, this is based on preference. For me, I don't really mess with this. I just leave it the way it is. But you can actually change the reverb to whatever you feel works for you. You don't know where you the default. You can just hit these two, and it's going to take you back to the default. So the chorus type, you can choose the various type of chorus you want, and the chorus level in which you saw earlier on will determine how much of the chorus you're going to hear. So most times I leave this the way it is. DSP on and off. Now you're offering the digital signal processing, so most times you want to leave this on. Now DSP type, or you have the basic call and some others. If you don't know what you're doing, just leave it the way it is. Now damper resonance is the resonance you get when you're playing acoustic pianos. So this tries to imitate it. So I love the way it sounds, but let me just switch it off, probably hear a difference. So let me switch it back on. Hopefully you heard difference. So the sustain horn, it has an inbuilt sustain to sustain note. That's if you don't have a sustain pedal, but why wouldn't you have a sustain pedal? Anyway, that's what the sustain does. And the master EQ, it's mostly much more useful for when you're playing with the inbuilt speakers, basically. So you can change the speakers, the EQ type to whatever you like. You have the bright. Mind you, this is going to affect how your sound is going to be. So most times you want to just leave it as normal. So, all right, the output gain. Now, this output gain is a bit tricky. All right, so the output gain is for the speakers, like the main output at the back of the keyboard. Now, one thing I observed is that now we are advised that if you're using an headphone, you want to use it as headphone. And if you're sending it to something like a professional gear, you can use line out. And this is going to determine how it's going to affect the sound to an extent, how it sounds. Now with headphone, I noticed that it's a bit louder, you understand? From what I can observe, it's a bit louder and I prefer the sound. Probably if you're sending it to a mixer where you still boost, or probably might use the line out there or to an external device. But for me, I just leave it as the headphone because I'm actually sending it to an interface. So the IA is the intelligent acoustic whatever. So you can adjust it the way you want. Yeah. Yeah, the intelligent acoustic control. It's actually helpful when you're using the inbuilt speakers. That's where you're going to feel this effect. But if I'm sending it to probably an audio interface to record, I don't need that. Now this controls the depth. If you don't know what you're doing, just leave it like that. Now the harmony type, I've already covered that. Harmony volume, this is the volume of the harmony. So the harmony volume is just the second, the harmony that is added to it, and it only works, like I explained, when you're using the style and accompaniment. So any other time it's not going to work. So that's the volume to control it to blend probably well. So that's just what the harmony actually just do for you. So we have the PC mode. I think I've covered that for the MIDI, and I've covered the local one. You have the external clock, and I've covered the keyboard out. The style out is there. You can just mix around with it, and we have the song out and all of that. So I think that's all for this keyboard. So thank you for watching, and maybe in the next video I will probably preview some of the sounds that are interesting on this keyboard you want to check out and applicables to other Yamaha keyboards. So see you.